Cinderella. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived a kind and gentle young girl. She had soft golden hair, bright blue eyes, and a warm smile that could light up even the darkest day. She loved all living things, the birds in the trees, the mice in the corners, and even the old horse in the stable. Her mother had passed away when she was very young. Her father loved her dearly and tried his best to make her happy. After some years, he decided to remarry, hoping to bring comfort and care to his little girl again. The woman he married had 2 daughters of her own. They were cold, proud, and selfish. At first, everything seemed calm. But after the girl's father passed away, the stepmother's true nature appeared. She was harsh and cruel, and her heart was full of jealousy. Soon, the stepmother began to treat her like a servant. She made her wake up before sunrise and work until night. Clean the floors, wash the clothes, don't forget to cook breakfast for us. Her stepmother's sharp voice echoed through the house all day long. The 2 stepsisters were no better. They sat by the fire, drinking tea and laughing while the poor girl hurried from one chore to another.
My dress has a stain, Gah. Wash it again. And bring me my ribbons. The blue ones, not the ugly ones.
The girl bowed her head and did everything she was told without a word of complaint. She slept in the cold attic on a small straw bed, while her stepsisters had soft beds, warm blankets, and golden mirrors. When she finished cleaning the fireplace each night, her face and hands were always covered in ashes and dust. Her stepsisters laughed
Look at you!
cruelly.
You're always sitting in the cinders! Yes, let's call you Cinderella.
And from that day on, everyone called her Cinderella, which means the girl of the ashes. Even though her life was full of sadness and hard work, she never stopped being gentle and kind. She often sang softly while she worked sweet songs about hope and dreams, and even the little birds came to the window to listen. Sometimes, as she looked out at the stars, she whispered, "Someday, maybe life will be kind to me too." One morning, a royal messenger arrived in the village. He carried a golden letter from the king.
The prince will hold a grand ball at the palace. Every young lady in the kingdom is invited to attend.
Cinderella's stepsisters were thrilled. They spent days choosing dresses, ribbons, and jewels. Cinderella helped them get ready. She fixed their hair, ironed their gowns, and found their shoes. She did everything with a smile, even though her heart wished to go to the ball too. When she finally asked,
May I go to the ball?
her stepmother laughed cruelly. "You go to the palace in those old clothes? The prince would never dance with you." Then she and her daughters left, leaving Cinderella alone in the quiet, empty house. Cinderella sat by the fireplace and began to cry. Suddenly, a soft light filled the room, and a kind old woman appeared.
Don't cry, my dear. I am your fairy godmother, and you shall go to the ball.
Cinderella looked up, surprised and hopeful.
But I have no dress, no carriage, not even shoes.
Fairy Godmother smiled and waved her magic wand. In a flash of light, Cinderella's old dress turned into a beautiful blue gown, sparkling like the night sky. Her shoes became shining glass slippers. A pumpkin in the garden became a golden carriage. 6 mice turned into strong white horses. A rat became a coachman. Cinderella gasped.
Everything was like a dream. Thank you, fairy godmother.
But the fairy godmother
Remember,
warned.
my dear, this magic will last only until midnight. At the last stroke of 12, everything will return to the way it was.
Cinderella promised to remember, and the carriage rolled away toward the shining palace. When Cinderella arrived at the palace, everyone stopped and stared. She looked so graceful and beautiful that even her stepsisters didn't recognize her.
This dance?
The prince saw her and walked straight to her. "May I have this dance?" he asked kindly. Cinderella smiled, and they danced together all night. They talked, laughed, and forgot the world around them. As the palace clock struck midnight, Cinderella ran down the grand staircase, her heart beating fast. The prince called after her, "Wait, please, don't go. I don't even know your name." But Cinderella didn't stop. The magic was fading, her gown began to lose its sparkle, and the horses turned back into mice. She hurried into the night, disappearing just as the last bell rang. When the prince reached the steps, all he saw was a single glass slipper, shining softly in the moonlight. He picked it up carefully, holding it as if it were a precious treasure. "She's gone," he whispered sadly. "But she left this behind. I will find her, the girl whose foot fits this slipper. She is the one I danced with, the one I love." The next morning, the entire palace buzzed with excitement. Messengers ran through the halls, carrying the royal command.
By order of the prince, every maiden in the kingdom must try on the glass slipper.
And so the royal servants began their journey from house to house. Every young woman tried to fit her foot into the slipper, but none could. Some tried to push, others pulled, but the shoe was too small for all of them. At last, the royal carriage stopped at Cinderella's house. Her stepmother and stepsisters rushed to the door, pretending to be sweet and polite.
Sirs, my daughters are ready for the prince's test.
The first stepsister tried the slipper, forcing her foot in with all her might. "It fits! I'm sure it fits!" she cried, but of course it didn't.
I'm sure
The second sister tried next, but her foot was much too large. The servant shook his head politely.
I'm sorry, ladies, but it clearly does not fit.
Just then, Cinderella
May I
appeared
try it on?
quietly at the door, her face gentle and calm. "May I try it on?" she asked softly. Her stepmother burst out laughing.
You? Don't be ridiculous. You didn't even go to the ball.
But the royal servant bowed and said,
The prince ordered that every young lady must try.
The room fell silent. Cinderella sat down gracefully and placed her small foot into the slipper. It slid in perfectly, as if it had been made just for her. Everyone gasped. The stepmother turned pale, and the stepsisters could only stare. The servants bowed deeply as they realized the truth. She was the mysterious princess from the palace. A moment later, the prince entered the room. When his eyes met Cinderella's, a smile of joy and relief lit up his face. He stepped forward and gently took her hand.
I finally found you.
Said softly, "I'll never let you go again." Cinderella looked up at him, her heart full of happiness.
And I'll never stop being grateful that you did.
The prince led her to his carriage, where the sunlight sparkled on the golden wheels. As they rode back to the palace, people cheered and waved, for everyone in the kingdom had heard about the girl with the glass slipper. A few days later, the grand bells rang across the land. The prince and Cinderella were married in a beautiful ceremony filled with music and laughter. From that day on, Cinderella lived in the palace, surrounded by kindness and love. She never forgot where she came from, and she treated everyone, rich or poor, with the same gentle heart she had always carried. And so, the prince and Cinderella lived happily ever after.